Hey YouTube, it's Kel. I am back with a follow-up of the other night when we talked about the Imago circle. So I'm going to label this one part 2 and I'll label it treatment, because at the end of the video I realized I really didn't go into how does Imago therapy actually help to heal you once you identify. So let me just kind of reiterate what this exercise was and go back to my part 1 for more detail. I'm going to say it really quick right now, but I did a whole, I think it was like 20 minutes or something about what this means. But essentially it's talking about traits in another person that you might be attracted to in terms of both positive traits and negative traits. And the negative traits are essentially wounds from your childhood a lot of times that you have not either healed or like they can be re-triggered. And so I wanted to talk about, okay, now that you know what your circle is, how does Imago therapy actually work with couples to treat couples? Now, again, I'm just going to say I am not Imago therapy certified. So I just read their book on this. And like I said, if they contact me for some reason in the future and want me to take it down because I'm not certified, I totally will. So, but in the meantime, I wanted to let you know, first of all, I'm going to do a very basic overview of what the gist of treatment is. And then I encourage you, there is an Imago therapy website with Dr. Hendricks, Harville Hendricks. And I realized his wife's name is, I think it's Helen Hunt. I think, gosh, I still don't. I looked at it once, but anyway, so you can go to their website, Imago therapy website. Again, it's Dr. Harville Hendricks. And look for Imago certified therapists in your area. If you are interested in, and I have no plug, I'm not receiving any benefit from them, but I really just think it's an amazing therapy for couples to do, because so essentially what you're going to do is when you go into treatment, you're going to do exercises, plural, like this, right? And in the course of doing this, you are going to recognize what your partner's childhood wounds are, okay? And so I broke down the treatment like into 4 kind of general categories of how you actually heal yourself once you know this stuff and how you heal the relationship, right? So, okay. So first of all, number 1 is to just understand what each other's, positive traits they love, but also what are their wounds. That's the biggest one that causes problems in relationships, obviously, are the wounds that get triggered. So, or as I put them down here, your emotional buttons, right? So what you want to do, the first step is you're just doing this to understand each other better. You might not have guessed that, like, say your boyfriend or something has a fear of abandonment because one of his parents was gone all the time, and you know what I mean? So maybe he would have absent here, and so you guys get in fights or whatever if, I don't know, you leave or I don't know what. But the point is that understanding each other's wounds are very, very important, because then you can understand what your behaviors are that could be mimicking your partner's caretakers that hurt him or her, So basically, the first goal of Imago therapy is just to understand your partner better. So your therapist will help you go into like more exercises like this to just get you to kind of verbalize and communicate what your wounds are about, what your needs are, and why this happened in the first place. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is understanding this therapy helps you not to take some of your partner's projection onto you personally. So essentially, like if your partner tells you that you're controlling, okay, let's just say, and you know that you're not controlling, but in the course of doing this, you realize that he or she put controlling down here, then you can just be like, oh, okay. When I understand that the wound comes from a original caretaker in childhood, I can take it less personally. Now, that doesn't mean I won't take ownership when I need to, but it just is you take it less personally because some of the wound and some of the reaction, some of the hurt, some of the pain is still coming from childhood wounds, okay? So when you do that and you understand, again, this is what they call becoming more conscious in your relationship. They really look at it like, but when you don't know each other's wounds, you can be living or an unconscious relationship dynamic where you guys are projecting all over the place on each other, you know? So, but let's just say, you know, like I said, or let's just say, controlling was one. Let's say, selfish is another one. You know what I mean? So if your partner calls you selfish, but then you do this exercise and you see, oh, they put selfish down there. Oh, they're projecting a lot onto me. And so when that happens, it brings us to point 3, which is, it brings us to having a lot of compassion. Instead of getting into fights, you can learn to have compassion for your partner's wounds. So when you look at your partner as kind of like a wounded child, or you look at their wounded child part of them, you can have a lot more compassion when it comes to healing, when it comes to repair. And you can, you know, instead of taking it like I'm the problem, you know, instead of taking it personal, like you're the problem, you start to ask, how can I participate in my partner's healing? You know, and so how can I, let's just say an example might be the controlling one, okay? So say your partner calls you controlling, you realize they have a controlling mother, let's just say, okay? And so when that happens in your dynamic in the future, if you understand that that partner has a controlling wound, then you will start to see in yourself not only when you could be coming across as controlling, right? But also you may just go, okay, you know what? I'm actually going to go out of my way to be less whatever they feel controlling behaviors are, you know, so that you can just let them know that you're seeing their wounds, you are understanding, and you're trying to help them heal. So you yourself as a partner can help to meet each other's needs and heal each other's wounds when you know what they are. But you can't do that a lot of times if you don't know what they are, right? So, okay, so that's 3. And the 4th one I wanted to say, and again, that a lot of number 3 will happen in therapy, in Imago certified therapy, where you really talk about, you know, the projections going on to each other. But the last one I want to talk about is sometimes there are traits in the bottom, you know, that you can give yourself to heal. So this is the last part. It's like you have to look at the bottom of your circle and go, what wounds can I heal in myself by giving certain things to myself? So I'm going to give you an example. If like neglect or neglected or, you know, like again, absent or whatever was in the bottom part of your circle, you might be like, okay, so my wound is neglect and I need to give myself more attention. You know, if I prioritize myself more, then I will be healing the inner child in me. So you can use your circle to understand what your wounds are, and then you ask yourself, which of these can I like try to heal in myself? Now, sometimes things are healed in relationships, and sometimes you can do a lot of the self-work on your own, right? But one last thing I'll say in terms of how this can help you in the future is a lot of times if you say had like 7 to 9 traits down here, and your last relationship was so dramatic all the time because the partner that you were very attracted to was opening all of your wounds, right? That usually creates a very dramatic reactive relationship where, you know, everyone's getting triggered and you're projecting all over the place. Again, it's kind of unconscious. You're not helping to meet each other's wounds. You're just triggering each other. So when that happens, let's just say you broke up, because typically, I mean, a lot of times you do break up as a result of throwing salt in each other's wounds, essentially. This can also help you to say, hey, if I have inconsistency as a wound of mine, next partner, I'm going to look for consistency. You know, so like that will heal my wound. If I don't have to force someone to be consistent, I will just look for a partner from the start who is consistent. Now, if you're already in a relationship, I'm not suggesting that you just jump ship and like go look for the opposite. But what I am saying is like, you can definitely learn, obviously, from your wounds and your past mistakes in relationships to choose different traits in the future, like absent. might be another one. So you might say, okay, well, I have been attracted to unavailable guys in the past, but you know what? I'm going to heal that wound and go for someone who is present, you know, who is there for me, emotionally available or whatever, or like manipulative. You might say, gosh, all the relationships in the past have been manipulative. Next guy or next woman I go for is going to be straightforward, never manipulating, never playing games, you know, very direct. So like you can choose, you know, how the circle works for you. And again, if you do choose someone who just triggers you all the time, you still can go to Imago couples therapy. And if both people are willing to grow and change, which is a huge if, right? But if you are both willing to grow and change and have compassion with each other's wounds and try to do things differently in the future, then you can help to be an agent of healing in your partner's life. Now, again, they have to do the work. You can't do it for them. But when someone loves them differently or even puts in the effort to be different, to heal their, you know, wounds that maybe really set them off, they could feel very loved and it could be very healing for them. So that's all I wanted to say tonight, is just give you the gist. Again, if you like Imago therapy, I strongly suggest that you go. It's a very niche therapy. And a lot of people, I would say, definitely wouldn't be certified in it. So go to the website and look for Imago certified therapists in your area, because they'll know exactly how to do this. A lot of people, it's not really covered a lot in like mainstream programs, I don't think. It just happens kind of like a one-off, but it is an amazing form of therapy that really helps to heal each other's, you know, deep wounds that maybe you keep repeating over and over. So, that is all for tonight. And I wanted to hop on and send my love and, know that I'm thinking about you, and I will see you next time. Okay.